We don't know who we play as in Poppy Playtime. There are countless theories and names thrown around, but we have no concrete answers. Poppy Playtime Chapter 5 launches later this month, and something that a lot of people aren't considering is how likely it is that we will finally get a canon design. Fans have been theorising and drawing up ideas for what our player character could look like for years, and I've nabbed 30 designs to look through today. We do have a canon design for the engineers from Project Playtime, which is a prequel, and that has inspired some of the designs in this video, so I've tried to look for designs which came out before that trailer, so it's a good mix. Let's take a look. This first one is probably the most popular. It's the first design that comes up when you look up Poppy Playtime character fan art, and it has that perfect disgruntled look that you can expect the character would have, and I think this is the baseline for all of the designs to come. The art is incredibly impressive. It's also just quite distinctive, like I'm looking around the pockets and what he's wearing around his neck. This is just the really perfect kind of thing that I'm looking for, you know? This one is quite interesting. Thank you for watermarking, it saves me some work. Obviously a post-chapter 3 design, but I like this one because they still have the employee's shirt on the name tag. I really like it. The hair as well, the sleeves, the grab pack, it all just works with this one. I love this one as well. Obviously a lot of the face and or head is submerged in darkness, but I like this one because it's one of the many designs that wears like a business suit and a tie, and again you can kind of tell through the lack of speech they are disgruntled as well, and you would be if you got this far. I can't imagine what the player character is thinking at this point. This is quite interesting. It imagines the player character as a woman, which I haven't seen an awful lot of discussion about. And honestly, it works. You know, with the hat and everything, it has like a low-ranking technician kind of look about it, you know? This is a design by Toon E Artist, who are absolutely fantastic. And although it is a design for one of the player characters in Project Playtime, I thought it fit because of how unique and fantastic it is. It says that the player character is not only human, but weirdly enhanced with spider legs. Again, we are just assuming that the player character is human so far. I keep going back to the fact that the game over screen in the first two games was static, and I can't remember if it was after the fact, but for those two games it definitely was. There's something not right going on. This is nice, wearing some kind of hoodie, again, white face, brown hair. Could be right, who knows. Another one in a business suit. This one almost looks like something out of Gravity Falls or something like that. I love it. It's really interesting seeing who decides to have the player character with glasses or not. It is quite interesting. This one again is heavily inspired from Project Playtime, so this is fairly run-of-the-mill. There's also a what's it called, a voxel Minecraft type design at the bottom there. This is pretty much the grand consensus of what we expect the player character to look like, again, with a kind of business shirt on. This character is apparently called Miss Pines. Now I'm not sure if that's the name of the artist or the name of the character, so I'm going to assume both. Again, there isn't much discussion about the fact that the player character could well be female. There isn't too much to gather from this one in terms of the actual player design, and it is overall fairly difficult to find fan art about the player character, but I just wanted to include this one because the Huggy looks fantastic as well. Maybe our player character is still wearing a Playtime Co hat, and when we do finally find out their identity, they are wearing a name tag, which would make things much easier. This one again, heavily inspired by Project Playtime, again with the business shirt and the trousers. I love this one, it's cute, and thank you for watermarking. Now these are interesting, Sam and Samantha, because apparently they're in a series of cartoons on YouTube, and I didn't know that until quite recently, but they are fairly popular, and there are posts talking about them. I had no idea. This one is very good, made by Empire. Again with the long hair and like the broken ragged jeans or trousers. Fantastic. Absolutely love this one. This one is fairly good. I can see something like this being realistic, you know, they've taken some liberties with a bit of a beard and the way the hair is styled and the colour scheme. It works. It's very good. The creativity is stunning. This one has ditched the business shirt for just a plain old yellow shirt. It also looks a little younger than the ex-employees in the other one, so this is almost like a bit of a player insert maybe, leaning a bit more into OC territory, which is something I do want to get into. I like this one, and I like this one because it shows signs of wear, bandages and things like that. And I know that that is a creative liberty with a lot of OCs, but with this one in particular, I was looking through and I thought this one, it just works, you know? Another one, this may be Sam and Samantha again, but the hair colour is different. A lot of people are designing employees on the safe side, kind of, by making them relatively basic. And I do think if we get a final answer, it will be something like that, because people's expectations have been blown up so much that they're almost impossible to meet. So designing characters in this way, it is the right way to go. This one is very good. It's being shown in direct conflict with the prototype. By now, you have the conventions down, right? The yellow design usually, the business shirt and the name tag at times, the hair. You're getting the point, right? You're getting the point, right? I love how with zero concrete answers and zero indication of what the player character actually looks like, people's designs are fairly similar. You know, there is a consensus here. This one, I guess it swapped out the shoes for a different colour and doesn't have a business shirt so much as a polo. Yep, I also love the take on Huggy in this one, kind of. Actually, I don't really. I like this one. I like this one because it was the only fan art I found, the only fan design for the player character that showed the progression of time. This is the right kind of outfit for this working environment. It just works. Another one from Toony Cartoon, who are absolutely brilliant. Unlike the weird spider design we saw earlier, this humanises them. It is a bit of a self-insert, I believe. We have some backstory here that they were hired 4 years ago, etc. Yeah, this is exactly the kind of thing I'm after. Let's read a little bit here. So they're 20 to 34 years old. Between 1980 and 96. Okay, that makes a bit more sense. And they return in 2005. That is something that I really wish we had confirmation of, is the year that we went back. I think people have pinpointed it to around 2005. Hired 4 years after Elliot Ludwig created Playcare, hired 1980. Don't know how true that is now. I'm not sure if this was made in the run-up to Project Playtime or afterwards, because I believe Boxy Boo, who appears in that game, is 1960s. Helped with fixing and maintaining the equipment for the factory, later on would also become an attendant at Playcare due to his protective nature. 6'4", wow. Completely knock Huggy out himself. In 1983, he was involved in a tragic accident while working on some malfunctioning conveyor belts and then losing both of his arms. I didn't even notice that. The grab pack, they're his arms. They're his actual arms. Rather than sending him to a hospital, Dr. Harley Sawyer proposed an alternative to make him useful once more. That's such a Harley Sawyer thing to say. So he was fitted with fully functional prosthetic arms and hands, all themed around the company's grab pack, specifically the 2.0 prototype being worked on. So he can swap hands as well. Isn't that smart? Wow. For the rest of his time at Playtime Co., he proved to be a valuable asset to the company after obtaining his grab pack prosthetics, as they not only increased his strength and durability, but also allowed him to reach for off areas and objects. However, in 1994, 1 year before the Hour of Joy, he would quit for unrelated personal reasons. However, in actuality, he had discovered the company's dark secrets and wanted no more part in it, and he returned 15 years later. Or I guess going off this artwork, he returned 11 years later. I know I've spent a lot of time in this one, but this is great, because there's so much mystery around the series, but this is harmless. This could work. Although I know that we don't have the grab pack as like our actual hands, because that would be ridiculous, given the context of the games, I really hope that this character exists, and I hope that the player character looks like them, which is the point of the video. This one came up relatively early, so I believe it's an early design. I like this, and I like the art style as well. One thing that I've gained from doing this video is that I've discovered so many fantastic artists that just do not get attention, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. We have some more OCs here, some employees, including the design we saw previously. You see, this is the kind of imagination and creativity that we need to shine more of a light on. Any one of these designs could be entirely accurate, all of them may not be. And that's it. It was so much harder to find player character fan art compared to the prototype. Some designs explicitly said do not repost, so I didn't. It's a shame because those designs were incredibly strong as well. Which one of these designs do you think will be closest to the final design? I guess just mentally number them in your head and write down whichever one you think is closest. And if you think that none of these designs will be close to the actual player character, then write in the comments what you think the player character will actually look like. This has been Kirby's to Plays. That's all from me. Bye bye.